She's like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 and music.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. My voice might go in and out. It might sound a little raspy? Because, I went out yesterday for my birthday with my friends and got very nice and drunk, you know what I'm saying, and woke up with a hangover, which is why I'm just now doing these reviews at 8:45 in the evening on Saturday. And I had planned to do them early on Saturday, but it was not working out. I had to take a few pain pills for my head. I had to. My nose like it's running. I just had to get myself together. And I had no voice this morning, so I haven't been talking at all today. And this is as good as it's going to get. So, for any of y'all who follow me on Instagram, I posted a couple things yesterday. We were out at the club. Or the lounge. It wasn't like a club or whatever. Well, it is. So, yeah. But, you know what I'm saying? That's what the flowers and the balloons is all, gifts from my people. My best friend Karla and everything. And Reba and my cousin Nay, my friend Mike. So, we had a really good time. But this is my review for, did I even say it? Hello. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. I can't remember if I said any of that. And this is my review for Married to Medicine, Season 5, Episode 10, that came on yesterday. It was a really good episode and everything. And let's just go ahead and get into it. I hope everyone had a great start of their weekend or the weekend in between as it is right now. As I just said, had a great time. So, yeah. We see the episode picks up with, we see Heavenly first, who's just at the office, and she's working on Towanda Braxton, who is Tamar and Tony's sister, who was also on Braxton Family Value, which is basically just getting her tooth fixed, saying how she's happy that she is now finally divorced, and Heavenly saying how she is a marriage or relationship expert. I don't know why Heavenly keeps saying that. It's a goddamn lie, in my opinion. I don't think she's an expert at all. I think Heavenly is just opinionated. It's a difference. And she thinks what she says is always right. So it's like, whatever. So that's basically what the whole scene was. We ain't got to get all into that. I don't believe Heavenly is a goddamn expert in marriage. I think Heavenly just has her own opinion on how relationships should work. And she think that makes her an expert. So girl, back. We see Dr. Jackie and Curtis on a little date at a park or whatever. I remember seeing like pictures of them shooting this scene like months and months ago, and how people were saying, oh, well, they got back together because it was after the whole cheating scandal, and then they saw them in the park. So that was their first outing together, since the whole situation. And Curtis tried to suggest they go on a trip to Paris. Why the trip to Paris? Because that was their first trip they took together. So he wants to try to recreate the magic of that. Jackie was saying how she's still in shock because people still blame her for Curtis cheating. I don't know why she's shocked. People still blame people for all kind of stuff. People on social media are all assholes because they all have an opinion about something. They all think they're right. It's always a thing from the outside looking in. Hell, even me. This is my opinion on the show. Could be right, could be wrong. We never really know. She was saying how she didn't want people to feel like she was too weak to walk away from Curtis. And I feel like I don't want that to be the reason why she's trying to work it out. Like, if you don't want to be with his cheating ass no more, then don't be with his cheating ass anymore. But don't stay with him just to prove anyone wrong. But also don't leave him just to prove anyone wrong. Just do what you need to do, for yourself. She says she doesn't know about the trip to Paris simply because she's like, she doesn't know she's in that space to be able to be there with him on a trip with him for 9 hours. On the flight to Paris, about 9 hours. She's like, she's just not ready for that. She does, however, suggest counseling when she brings up how Simone and Cecil does counseling. She's like, so maybe that's the first step versus us taking a trip to Paris. Why? Honey, Curtis better go ahead and sit his ass down. I think Curtis is just trying to really I feel like Curtis is trying to fix it, but I feel like his way of fix my voice sounds dumb sometimes. I feel like him trying to fix it at times makes it seem like he's trying to move past it too fast. I don't think the first trip y'all should take. I just bit my jaw. I don't think the first trip y'all should take should be to Paris. The first trip y'all should take, go one state over. You know, go one city over or whatever. Some easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. But don't try to do this whole romantic Paris trip. Because I don't think she did. She barely want to be seen with your ass in America. She barely want to be seen with your ass in Atlanta, Georgia. So, you know, I don't think going out of the country is the best thing to do, Curtis. But, you know, it is what it is. Sorry, y'all. We see Contessa and Scott out, you know, on a date night. I think it is probably hard for two doctors to get together and have a date night. You know, she's saying how with Miss Renee being, well, they're both saying how with Miss Renee being gone, it's hard for them to get away from the kids because they don't have a babysitter or whatever, or nanny. I don't see why they hire no new nanny. I mean, I just assume when you have staff that you're paying to do a job, and then if you fire them or they quit, you just go hire someone else if that person's no longer there. I don't see why you should want to suffer or wait for that person to come back. They don't give a fuck about you, so who gives a fuck about them? But you know, it is what it is. You know, Contessa saying how she's starting to have that mommy guilt, meaning she feels guilty that she's not always home with her babies, you know, because she's having to work. You know, she says how she doesn't think people, there's a thing is like daddy guilt or father guilt. I think there is. I think there are fathers who work a lot who feel guilty about not being with their children. I just think it's not as talked about or doesn't happen as much as it does with mothers. Her husband does say, you know, you just feel like that because you're not a stay-at-home mom. You know, you're a working mom, and that's why you feel that kind of guilt. You know, she brings up how her mother worked night jobs so that she can be able to be with them, her and her siblings or whatever, during the day. And I think it depends on each person. I feel like Contessa, I'm not going to say she's being this way for a storyline. I don't think that's what it is, because I like Contessa. She doesn't seem fake and fugazi to me at all. But I feel like, I don't know why she's at this point in her life, considering how long she's probably been a doctor. You know, her children aren't little. You know, so I'm like, is it just to the point to where she's tired of working so much and having to burn the candles at both ends? Is it because Miss Renee is no longer there, so that mother figure that she doesn't want to let anyone else be around her children, so she's like, well, if it ain't Miss Renee, it has to be me. I don't know which one it is. You know, she brings up how she feels, how people feel like it's more honorable to work to take care of your children versus actually taking care of your kids and not working. I feel like she can catch some flack for that, simply because I think it's easy for a person who doesn't have any kind of financial difficulty to say, well, yeah, you know, it shouldn't be about making money to support your kids. I think some people don't have a choice but to work, and they have to spend time away from their kids because they can't afford not to. You know, not everyone can afford to have a spouse who can take care of the home or has the luxury of picking a job that allows them to work at night so that they can be with their kids all day. I think it just depends. I think, you know, you have some people who have tons and tons of money, and they will make the excuse of saying, you know, well, I have to work to support my kids, but they don't, because they got enough money to do it. But I don't feel like a regular working person who says, you know, I have to work to support my family is doing it by putting money over their children. I think sometimes it's just that's your situation. You know, she brings up how, you know, maybe one of them would have to not work in order to be with the kids all the time. And he like, so you want to stop working? You know, because, you know, it ain't about me, basically, you know. And he brings up how, you know, her saying how one of them should stop working, this isn't a good time, solely because, he like, we just bought this expensive-ass house. We said no. Maybe this should have been a discussion before we bought this expensive house, but it just isn't the right time. And I completely feel him when he's saying you're trying to have an idea of what we can do, but we can't really financially do that right now. And even though she came back saying, well, I didn't mean I wanted to stop working right now, it's just an idea. I think it's a good idea. It's a good thing to think about. But at the same time, you just have to make sure that you can financially afford it. But he made a really great point, really great valid point. He told her, you know what I'm saying, you could make your work schedule work. You could really go in to work and get off of work before the kids or right after the kids are getting off if you wanted to. And I said that, I think of my last one. Every doctor has the option to make their own hours for the most part of it. They maybe not be able to, for the most part they can. I think especially if you have any bit of your own practice, you don't, like she said last time, you know, people come in at the last minute and we have to accommodate them. You don't have to unless it's an emergency, and I don't think anyone goes to their PCP for an emergency. You go to the goddamn emergency room. So I feel like she is a bit of the Jackie complex, where she feel like she always has to be there for her patients, and the difference is Jackie doesn't have children, so her being gone didn't hinder or hurt her children, hurt her marriage. But for Contessa, you have children to go home to, so if you're supposed to get off work at, let's say, 3 p.m., but you know what I'm saying, take these extra 15 patients that come in and you don't get off until 6, that's on you. You can have a very strict policy. I know my PCPs don't even see people sometime later in the day, and they stick to their schedule. And not saying that it will always be perfect, but I feel like Contessa, like he said, you know, you can change your schedule. So, and it's a thing where you can change if you want to be home with the kids, or if you want to be there with them when they get out of school. Get off of work earlier. Don't stay later. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a valid point for him to make. Can he also leave work early? Well, make his schedule fit? Yeah, but I don't think he has an issue, because he even said, you know, if you were to quit your job, of course, I can pick up extra hours and work more. He said, but then I would end up suffering because I will be away from my family more, just so that you can be there all the time. And that isn't fair to him. It isn't fair to the kids. It isn't fair to his wife either. So I think a great compromise is, if you're so upset with the amount of time that you're spending at home, fix your hours at work to where you literally leave in enough time. Even if it's for 3 days a week, you leave in enough time to spend more time at home with the kids. I thought that was a great thing. Cecil, Simone, and this app. I don't care much, honestly, about it. I think it's a great idea that he's trying to do something different. You know, it's an app called, you know, Friend Zone, or Friend Kids at work. What's the damn thing? Kids Force. I said Friend Zone. Kids Force is basically an app to where, you know, you put the app on and people in your neighborhood can put whatever I need someone to wash my car, I need someone to mow the lawn, I need someone to do whatever, you know, housework, around the housework, landscape stuff, all that stuff. Take the trash out, mow the leaves, rake the leaves, mow the lawn, or whatever that stuff is. So you put these jobs on this app, and kids in your neighborhood has the opportunity to apply for them and get the job to do stuff. You know, it helps kids make money, and also can help you get to know your neighbors. So that's the point of this whole app. You know, the app basically asked Simone, she wanted to be a part of it, to be the face of it, so that it can be a woman's perspective, a parent's perspective, and she's also a doctor. She agrees because she wants to support her husband. You know, okay, we're going to get over that whole part. You know, we see Toya and Eugene. Well, I like Simone and Cecil. I do. It's a cool idea. It really is. I think they're smart for using this platform to get basically free publicity for the idea. It's very fucking smart. That's what you're supposed to do when you're on any kind of worldwide platform. If you have something going on or whatever, that's what you should do. So I think it's smart. I didn't want to just like not talk about it at all, but that's what I think. You know, Toya and Eugene are basically meeting up with their realtor because their original home, the first home they bought, the home they were married in, and they were renting it out. The person who had been renting it for 3 years no longer wants to lease it anymore, so they're gonna, you know, go elsewhere. So they have to figure out, do they want to lease it to someone else, rent it to someone else? Do they want to sell it? What they're gonna do with it? You know, they bring up how they've been, you know, charging $3,000 a month for this rental, which basically wasn't making them any money. You know, Eugene said we wasn't making any money. We were basically just paying the mortgage on it. And, you know, sometimes when you're renting your house, you want to rent it at a profit, at some kind of profit. So if your monthly mortgage is $2,800, you're not really making any money, you know. if your mortgage is $2,800, you are hoping to rent it out for $3,800. So every month you're making $1,000 profit on it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the year, you've made 12 grand. That's a little, but it's also a lot. If you do it the right way. So they're trying to figure out if they want to lease it. You know, Eugene said, like, if we lease it, I think we need to lease it for more than $3,000 a month. But however, he's like, I will also not mind. I must be getting a cold too. Getting rid of the house just entirely, just to get that debt off. You know, my debt was a debt to credit ratio, which makes sense. You know, they bought the house for, they say, you know, $576,000. You know, years and years and years ago. And while Toya is hoping to get all her money back, girl, you's a fool. You know, everybody know you buy anything, it depreciates in value over time, especially if you haven't put any money into the house. And we know they ain't did no upgrades to it and made nothing special. They moved in, they lived in, it was what it was. So, you know, the realtor let them, like, you know, if y'all sell the house, you're not going to make a profit. You'll end up losing money because you're not going to get back what you paid for it. But at the end of the day, get what you can get for that. Y'all already in debt. So, and y'all ain't living in the house. I can see if y'all was living in, because you have a home that you are renting out where you're no longer renting out. You're paying a mortgage on that. Plus, y'all live in a house that you're having to pay rent on. So, that's dumb. You know, when y'all lease, well, I don't know how long the lease on is for their own house, but I don't know why they moved out of that house anyway. Well, I think they were saying they wanted, because no, they lived in that house, moved to a bigger house, which was dumb because the first house wasn't too small. You and your husband and 2 kids. It wasn't small at all. I think that was a little bit of them living beyond their means and why they in a fucked up situation now. So I feel like Eugene is being more practical and logical, saying, you know, we need to either rent it for more money or just get rid of it, and it doesn't matter what we spent on it. You know, and the realtor said, like, if y'all sell it, you're gonna lose about $60 grand on the house. My thing is, but that debt is still off of your back. You know, Toya was saying how she can tell how stressed Eugene is, and you know how it can make him feel like he's just sinking under all this stress and everything. She doesn't want him to feel like that he can never come up from air. He's always something on his neck that he has to pay. And I feel like, Toya, bitch, get a job. You know what I'm saying? I think before they had this whole debt or whatever, you know, Toya not working wasn't a big thing. But, bitch, you ain't worked not a lick of nothing in all 5 seasons of this show. I feel like, I ain't saying go get a job at McDonald's or go get a job, you know, working at Macy's or whatever. But, I mean, do something. Do something. You can't write a book, make a clothing line, start a head. I mean, anything. You can't do YouTube, bitch. Like, you can't do anything to bring some money into the household so that your husband isn't the only breadwinner. And working doesn't even mean that you have to, like, be gone from the house. It's something. I'm working right now for my damn house, and if I had kids that asked to be in the back somewhere just sitting out and chilling, I feel like Toya is unfortunate that all this burden of their issues are put on Eugene's shoulder as the sole breadwinner because Toya is a housewife. I feel like in most situations, if you see your husband struggling to pay bills, bitch, you get on your ass and you help. And, you know, while she gets a paycheck from this show, clearly the money you make from this show ain't helping because Eugene is still working 13 damn hours, 14 damn hours, 24 damn hours a day. You know, he said he hadn't had a vacation day off in 3 weeks. That's fucking 21 days, bitch. I mean, Toya, girl, do something with your damn self. But, you know, it is what it is. And don't just say, oh, I don't want him to feel stressed. But is you helping? Do something. Write a book. Do a memo. Join a blog site and write some damn stories. I don't care what you do. Join the damn New York Times. Girl, do something with yourself. I'll be going off sometime. It'd be crazy. So we see Quad, and Quad is supposed at this our local news station doing a segment for cooking, for her little cookbook and everything. And I'm gonna say 2 things about this, and I'm gonna move off of it. One, I think Quad is a great cook. I think I think her book is probably gonna be really good because she's forever cooking on this damn show. So we know she got some skills. However, I also feel like Quad wasn't really on that damn morning show simply because she had too much titty meat out. Anyone who watches the news in the morning know when you have guests on, them guests do not have their titties out. And, you know, I felt like it was a put on for the show. Like, we're gonna have her here, but then they never air in real life. Because typically when someone is on the show and it air, they show the show that aired. They don't show them recording something, and they don't. They just don't. So I feel like that was her. Cause I just don't. She had her titties all out. The outfit she had on was not proper for a morning show for the news. And could you see the news? You see some people dressed for the news. It's the morning time. Ain't nobody trying to have their kids seeing a lady on TV with her damn titties out. And I feel like Quad is fashionable enough that she know what's appropriate. Because Quad is on her own. That Sister Circle damn TV show that she's on. Her titties gonna be out. She's dressed appropriately for regular television. Like reality shows, you can dress a little bit different, but typically when you go on like a morning radio show, that kind of stuff is different because it's a broader audience and it's just not, you don't have titty meat out. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I do think she's a good cook, but I don't think that was a real show that she taped. And if it was, I'm surprised they let her titty meat be out like that. We see Simone and Heavenly riding together, dropping their kids off of school. I didn't know their kids went to the same school, but okay, I guess it is what it is. And Heavenly said to Simone's son that he looks nice now because he used to look funny looking. Simone looked like, bitch, what? First of all, again, I feel like don't talk about my child, even though we know Heavenly say dumb shit like that. Because Simone said, what if I said this, that Alara looked funny looking? Alara was like, Mom, please don't say that. Heavenly just needs someone to tell her. Well, they told her to fuck up, but she still don't. Heavenly just always out of pocket. I don't care what nobody's saying. People try to say, well, you know Heavenly, how she talk. That's not an excuse. The reason Heavenly said the shit that she say, and she feel like it's okay if people don't let her know, bitch, you wrong. They drop the kids off or whatever, they start talking. It's, Heavenly just basically says how since Simone and Cecil have marital issues, that she don't feel like they are the right ones to do the couple trip, plan the couple trip. So, since I'm a relationship expert, I'm a plan it. We want to go to the Caribbean. Was it the Caribbean? I think it was some damn way. I don't know where we're going to go. But where we're trying to go is where her husband has family at or whatever. And Simone like, but you don't even get along with anybody. What about Mariah? And then, Heavenly just said, well, I'll be nice to everybody. So, at this whole little party for this app thing that they have, I'm not going to talk about the app stuff at all. One thing I will say is Cecil's brother, David, is sexy as hell. He was a cute little something, little older, distinguished gentleman. I know he married because he had a ring on his finger. But Cecil's a nice looking gentleman as well. But his brother walked in, I literally sat up and said, that's Cecil's brother? Okay, hey, Cecil, brother David, you's a cutie. He's real nice looking or whatnot. So, we see Quad came late. Jackie came too and said how Curtis had wrote her a love letter, like literally wrote the love letter out. We have Toya saying, I want them to get back together, whatever, but I still felt like I thought that Jackie would make him suffer a little bit longer. Like I thought she would make him suffer for like a year. Toya, who the hell got a year to sit around and be angry and making, girl, bye. Ain't nobody got time to be purposely making someone wait a long ass time to get over some shit. That's where y'all dang on problem. She don't be thinking straight. Girl, shut up. So, Mariah's there as well. And Mariah walked in with the girl, I think her name was Maya, from that cutting it in the ATL. That she was a lady who had to fit out of weave shops or whatever. So, I don't know if she's trying to make her way to Married to Medicine, which I don't think she can because she ain't married to nobody with no medicine. But we know how they can always have a friend of a friend on here. And, because, well, yeah, I don't know. But she had no speaking thing. Well, she did a little bit towards the end. But, I was like, what the hell is Maya doing on here? But I guess that's Quiet's new bosom buddy. Quiet be with her little... No, that wasn't Quiet's friend. It was Mariah's friend. So I guess Quiet done brought her little white friend on there. I don't know what Whitefish name is. And now Mariah got her backup friend. Girl, whatever. So... basically, they're trying to get Mariah and Heavenly to squash their issues. They're trying to get Heavenly to invite Mariah to go, but Heavenly saying how she wants an apology from Mariah. I feel like, they show how Mariah was saying how, y'all have to admit that Mariah is consistently mean to me. I mean, that Heavenly is consistently mean and rude to me. Look, Heavenly and Mariah are both mean to each other. I don't feel like either one of them is more guilty or innocent. However, I do feel like Heavenly goes for the jugular. I feel like Heavenly is a little bit worse simply because she goes from 0 to 100 quick period, point blank period. Whereas Mariah Mariah threw that shade at her party. That's what she did, and that's what Heavenly holding on to. I still think it's fuckery and bullshit from both of them because y'all both too damn old to be arguing about this. Who cares? You know. What else? So Heavenly didn't go to talk to Quad and skip the whole app shit that I wrote down. I don't care about the damn app. You know, Heavenly talking to Quad and she's saying how, you know, they trying to get me to invite, you know, who I'm inviting on the trip, and I told them I'm going to invite who I want to. And, you know, Quad like, and that you shit because it's your trip. No, bitch, it's not Heavenly's trip. It's a goddamn Bravo trip. Everybody know every season of any Bravo show, most reality shows, that studios or the network pay for them to take a damn trip every season. You can't tell me on no God's green earth that the people themselves is paying for this trip. No. Not when it's a part of the show. No. Production paying for some of that shit. So it's not Heavenly's trip as if I don't think she's paying for shit. I honestly don't. So I feel like if it's a trip for the show and it's the yearly girls trip or whatever trip, you need to invite everybody because that's just a part of the show, bitch. It's a show. So, you know, whatever. She's saying how Mariah has never apologized to her, so until she apologized, she's not going to invite her. If she apologized, she will invite her. Again, I feel like it's bullshit. You know, Simone come up saying, now they all come together. And Simone saying how, you know, we all have issues with one person here one way or the other, so we can't act like everyone gets along with everyone because we all have issues, you know, in little ways here and there. And, you know, Heavenly saying, you know, well, if someone's telling somebody, if everyone's telling one person the same thing, you know, they should acknowledge it. But I'm always able to forgive. And Toya like, you know, y'all use that forgive word and y'all don't be telling the truth. She was like, y'all don't be forgiving nobody. You know, y'all do side comments. Y'all do side-eye people. Y'all do whatever. So Quad like, well, who you talking about? And she's like, well, I just pointed to you and Heavenly, both of y'all. Y'all be quick to say y'all forgive, but y'all really don't. You know, Toya says, you know, Quad, you forgive and ignore. I mean, you would say you forget somebody and you want to move on, but then you will ignore them whenever they're in your presence. Quad said how she don't want to put herself into toxic situations. She don't have to deal with certain people or deal with certain things. And Toya was like, but what if she ain't going nowhere? Meaning Mariah gonna be around one way or the other. So, you know, y'all need to get it figured out. She's like, well, you know, if that's the case, I'm cordial. This bitch Toya literally pulled out her phone and Googled the word cordial to be sure what it meant. She said, because y'all use that word so fucking much, and I don't think y'all really be being cordial. While it was a funny moment because they say how dumb Toya is, it's true. People hear the word cordial and they say, well, that just means if I'm around somebody I don't like, I don't have to be nasty towards them. When in actuality, it do mean when they're around, you're nice to them. You don't have to be extra friendly, but you're nice to them. Quad ain't not never, ever nice to Mariah. She might say hello, but that's it. And even from then, it's always some kind of contention or some kind of issue, some kind of this tenseness in the midst of it, and it's some bullshit. So, why don't I use random ass friend requests on Facebook? That's just weird. Mariah says how, you know, she's like, well, you know, how many times does a person have to apologize? I don't get it. She's like, I tried to right my wrongs, you know, but the people with the most to say are the most brutal, not the most offensive. And she was like, some things are below the belt in this mannish, where it was just a whole bunch of back and forth bullshit. You know, Heavenly seen them. You can't invite me to your house and humiliate me. I don't feel like what Mariah did was humiliating because everybody saw what you said about that girl's mama. So I think the things y'all all do to each other are all fucking humiliating, no matter what it is. Y'all call Toya fat and broke. You know, y'all talk about how fake Quad face used to look with all the goddamn makeup. Y'all talk about Dr. Jackie being too skinny. You know, y'all talk about Simone, how she looking, all y'all say things about the other one that's fucking humiliating or that's rude and that's managed. I think Mariah's point is, you keep talking about my mama. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the only issue that Mariah has. And even though I'm not Team Mariah and I'm not Team Heavenly, I am on Mariah's side when she's saying, just don't talk about my mama, because Heavenly consistently talk about that girl mama. And I do feel like Miss Lucy, as crazy as she is, and, you know, yes, she did hit Toya in the head with a person season 1, but we on season 5. And as far as I know, Miss Lucy ain't did shit since then. And if Toya okay with that lady, no one else should have an issue with that lady, point blank, period. You know, Mariah, and they saying, well, you know, well, she apologized to you or whatever, but you didn't apologize to her. And, you know, Mariah made a good point saying, like, you know, you can't apologize to somebody just to get an apology back. That's not how it works. You know, so Heavenly get mad and she's like, you know, well, so what? You know, when Mariah get up saying she ain't kiss nobody's ass, you know, they go outside, you know, because Mariah said, you know, don't just call me out about my shit. You know, it's a whole bunch of y'all here. And I agree, it should not be a jump on Heavenly or jump on Mariah. I just wish they'd stop talking about this shit, because it's starting to get frustrating, boring, and just redundant. I don't know what I just heard. And it's just stupid. So, you know, Simone's selling Heavenly, because they was all up in arms, you know, so Heavenly pissed off. Mariah pissed off, and Mariah and Maya then left. You know, Heavenly is honest with Simone is. Damn it, I'm so tired. Simone is honest with Heavenly and said, you know, if you're gonna be the one in charge of the group trip, you know, you can't be hostile. You can't be that way. You have to put your personal issues aside, and you can't be that way, because this trip isn't about you. You can't make it it's not a Heavenly trip. As I said, it's not. It's a Bravo fucking trip. So Heavenly goes out to talk to Mariah, and she was like, you know, okay, my husband told me that I need to be, you know, better, so I'm going to try to be better or whatnot. You know, I would like to invite you to the trip, and maybe we can talk. Mariah just says, you know what I'm saying, I know she only invited me because she has to, and she don't want me to be there, so for that reason, I'm going to make it. Now, that was funny, and it was petty, but she says, okay, thank you for inviting me. She says, and I'll go. She said, however, I want everyone to be aware of what I'm not okay with. And what I'm not okay with is anyone talking about parents and children. I thought what she said was very logical. Meaning, if you want to come at me, bitch, by all means come at me. But I feel like none of us should go after a person's parents and their children. I completely agree. Now, while Mariah had a mean-ass bitch I hate you face on, sound like, and I'm not going to do it with you, she looked real hostile saying it. She did say it calmly, and she made her point known. I felt like at that point, Heavenly just could have said, okay, and they could have walked away and left it at that. Not Heavenly. Heavenly then said, well, okay, well, that's fine, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, you can't bring up my husband. Why did she say that? Because I feel like the only thing that Mariah said about her husband was when they were arguing at Contessa's party and Heavenly was getting, you know, up in arms, Mariah looked at her husband and said, get your wife, and that wasn't her bringing in her husband. Your husband was sitting right there, and she would, because usually in those situations, a husband get their wife. He wasn't getting his wife. He wasn't calming his wife down, and so Mariah said, you know, get your wife. That don't mean she was being rude to your husband. It does not mean that she was being rude to anyone. She was just saying, your wife is over here getting out of pocket. I'm sitting here and I ain't gonna say shit, so just come get her. I don't know why Heavenly made that to be an issue. Then, out the blue, Heavenly said how Mariah's yelling. So, you know, bitch, don't be yelling at me. She called her a bitch. You know, told her that, you know, oh, you've been called worse, so don't feel bad about it now, bitch. When I tell you Heavenly ain't not now walking in no path with God, Heavenly is not on no kind of spiritual journey at all, point blank, period. Because she was cussing and fussing and going off of Mariah in a way that a person who was truly on a spiritual journey would not be able to go. And she ain't new on the journey. She been on this goddamn spiritual journey for 2 seasons now. She ain't new to this. She not at all. And I feel like, that's why I feel like Heavenly in this situation is more wrong than Mariah, because the way that Heavenly went in on Mariah was uncalled for. Simply calling her bitches, telling her she ain't shit, you know, all the cussing and the fussing. girl, you was just out of pocket. And it's weird to see how angry and how mean and how spiteful and it's how downright evil Heavenly, her name is fucking Heavenly, how Heavenly gets towards Mariah when they going back and forth, you know. And when Mariah was like, you know what, you really great, Heavenly, you really great, and she was walking away, and Heavenly did what Heavenly do, and so was your mama. Again, bring her mama into it, and she just told you, I'm not with the mama bullshit, so don't do it, and you did it anyway. So, you know, Mariah says, you know what, I don't like bears and beasts, and that's what you are, bitch. I chuckled, you know, she said that. And then, you know, Heavenly called her an ugly or. I don't think she's an ugly or. I don't, you know, I don't even know how someone can be an ugly or. I don't even get that. It was a full mess. You had Simone trying to pull Heavenly one way. You had Maya trying to pull, you know, Mariah the other. I think it was a full ass mess. And again, I think Heavenly is wrong as fuck. Heavenly gets on my goddamn nerve because she swear up and down that she's trying to be a better person, but every opportunity that she has to be the better person, and not my things. I'm not even saying that Heavenly can't argue with someone. I'm not saying that she can't disagree with someone. I'm not saying that she can't get upset, but there's a way that you can be upset and not do and say what Heavenly does. Because then she'll say, you know, I just keep having these stumbles in my walk. No, you ain't walking. You're not at all. You just trying to put on a front as if you're trying to be better, and you try to make it seem as if I'm trying to be better, but so-and-so pulled me out of pocket. No, you not in no damn pocket. No one pulled you out of pocket. You're not even in the pocket. So, and that's how the episode goes off. So, put your comments below. Let me know what you think about it. I will talk to you guys next time. Until then, peace.